Okay. All right. We are live on YouTube and recording. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the Sunrise Sunday. I am Vidette Mayer. Every time I do these, this is I think week 7 maybe that I've been doing these Sunrise Sundays, and every week so far I've tried to switch up the background a little bit. All of them so far have been outside because it's really important for me when we are trying to bring the sacred back to Sundays and tune into our sacred within. I wanted all of the elements. I envisioned all of the elements being present with us as we did it. And being here in Mexico, by the Caribbean Ocean, I've tried to bring some of that into it. Today it looked like it might kind of sprinkle a little bit, so I'm indoors. I'm not really equipped, so my background's kind of blah, and there was a glare on the door. Like, I was running around here, I'm all hot and sweaty, trying to make it as comfortable of a space as I can. And it is my dream and my intention to find a space that I can set this up and have it be familiar and have it be beautiful, and have it be a place that I'm excited to bring you into. So far, doing these, I put a little more pressure on myself than I think that I need to have a background that's spectacular. But today, I think it's okay because what I'm feeling is going to be the direction of our message. I'm extremely, I'm, I'm extremely, I'm extremely nervous about it, and so it could just be that this is the perfect background because it's plain and we can really tune into the message that's coming forth. If you are new here, welcome. I'm happy to have you. I do these every Sunday, and so far it started out to be a 12-week for my soul, because I had been disconnected from any kind of spiritual community. I'm going to call it church. I haven't been successful with finding a spiritual community to commune with in person on a weekly basis. There's something about the format and the music and a message that I loved for so long about church. And yet, every church that I went to, except for one, I found a spiritual community in Southern California that was so beautiful and so touching. And when I left California, that was one of the things that I have grieved ever since, because it was the first time that I felt comfortable in a community, and Sundays were so sacred. Have always been somewhat sacred to me. I don't really know why. And maybe this is why, because it feels like a really good spot for me personally, for my soul, to just sit on Sundays and intentionally bring the sacred back in and practice my connection with my guides and sources, and bring their message forth for you, for anyone who shows up here. And one of the most beautiful things that I believe about the sacredness that we do together here, that I've just created because I couldn't find it on my own. I couldn't find a spiritual community to commune with on Sundays. And so I'm creating it. Right now, it looks like it's online. And yet I have a vision. I've been given a vision of it being in person and having it be a community that comes together as well as we record. But for right now, it is just me and this computer and whomever shows up, because here's what I know. And I say this almost every week, because if you are here and you are watching this, whether it's live or whether it's on a recording, your soul is co-creating this in this moment. There is a message that is being brought forth by our consciousnesses in our multidimensional selves. Our consciousness, you can't see it. You can only see the work that it does, that it brings forth, but in physical form. But the consciousness you can't see because it vibrates at a completely different frequency. And when something vibrates at a higher frequency than our third dimensional selves, we can't see that. You have a higher self, a soul that is beaming out intentions, and it's also attracting in the answers and the solutions and the way to those intentions. It does not operate in the same time, space, linear time. Actually, it does in this time space, linear time. It doesn't work in linear time. There is no past, there's no present. It all exists at the same time. So even though you may not, your soul may not, your mind, your soul may not call in this message for another year, and that's when you find this recording. But in this moment, we are connected, and your consciousness is saying, hey, this soul is going to need this message here in a little bit. So could we get to it and help everyone else who also has a soul who's saying, we need this particular message? What I think is so beautiful about these sacred Sundays, sunrise Sundays, I do them in the mornings because it's what I love my mornings. They're very sacred to me any day of the week. And on a Sunday, they're just super juicy sacred. And what I love about this process for myself personally is I don't know what the message is going to be from. I might have a hint based on something, things that happen throughout the week. But as I set up and I get up on Sundays, I start tuning in to my guides and to my inner soul and say, what is it that needs to come forth today? And when I hit record, I still really don't know. But what I do know is I get to practice bringing a message forth that's not my own, which means in this time with you, my work is to remain an open channel so that none of my filters get in the way. And as an open channel, I can bring in that message, and I get to practice then translating that message into words. And doing that has always been very easy for me when I've journaled for myself or when I've written things. I can type them out and put context to them so I can better understand them. The sacred practice that I'm personally working through with these is being okay with not knowing, not being prepared, remaining an open channel and allowing my ego to take a step aside. Practice bringing these messages forward for you and for me, and not being afraid to actually, and being brave enough to do that on a live stream, on a recording that many will see. And there might be some feedback on, whether I'm good at this or not. And that's it's good. That's getting less and less of a concern of mine, but it used to be a really big concern of mine. But I've gotten to a point now with a lot of the energy work that we've all been put through in these last, this last year or two, especially. They've been super intense. I've kind of let go of caring as much about what people think, and knowing that I have my own journey and I'm bringing these messages forth, and I might be a little clunky with them, and I might not be as smooth as butter as many people who channel messages, but I'm getting started with this process of my evolution, and I share it with you in sacred reverence and sacred gratitude that you're patient with me as I do this. I hope this message is exactly what you need. Actually, I kind of don't hope, because I don't know it's going to be exactly what you need. I hope it comes forth in a clear and concise way. for you. So what I would like to do now is just simply get grounded together and pull our energies together. I'm going to take a sip. I hope you have some water next to you. I'm pretty sure I just slurped my water into that microphone. So if that was the case, I apologize. Okay. Bringing your attention, just close your eyes, close your outer eyes, and bringing your attention to the body, sitting in a chair. Maybe you have earbuds in, and just tuning in to the sound of my voice, because it is this physical presence, this tone, that is connecting us, that is connecting an energy from my heart, from my soul, out into the ethers of the universe and connecting into your heart, sweet soul, and to your sweet, sweet soul. And in this moment, our consciousness, our minds, our hearts, all come together in sacred reverence for this moment. I am so, so grateful for the magic of energy to bring us here today. And what I would love for us all to tune into is this beautiful energy. We can't see it. We can certainly feel it. We know it exists, and yet it remains a mysterious thing that we know carries the frequencies of magic or the frequencies of darkness. And in our consciousness, we choose every single moment to choose the energy of magic, the energy of darkness. And yet what I know for this group and for the consciousness that is listening to this message today, the choice is always magic. The choice is always to flow with the energy. And with choice also comes a consequence. Consequences are not always bad. And yet when we choose magic, we choose the flow of energy in the direction of our souls, we sometimes feel as though we hit and butt up against darkness, chaos. And yet, as beautiful energy workers, we are always reminded that chaos is always a byproduct of a choice. And when one chooses magic, one chooses to flow with that infinite energetic source energy that flows from the great galactic sun into our sun and into our planet. And as it comes into the energetic grid of the planet, this energy, then this photonic energy, then hits our consciousness, expanding it even more, allowing us to choose even bigger and even more sacred energy. And in this world where sacred has gone hidden, we sometimes feel as though we don't belong, as though we can't be heard, as though our choice doesn't matter. Right here, right now, sweet soul, tune into my voice and hear this message, because it is for you. As you hear this message, pull it into your ears, down into your heart, and down even deeper into that soul, and allow it to be heard. Sweet soul, in this moment, in this collective energy of our planet Earth, you are a minority. The collective has not yet seen what you can see. The collective cannot yet hear what you can hear. The collective cannot yet feel what it is you feel. The collective cannot yet connect to their soul. And that is why, sweet soul, you cannot be seen as brightly as you know you shine. And let me remind you in this moment, hear this. Each one of our consciousnesses that is creating this message today sees you. We hear you. We feel you. Because we are you. Each soul creating this recording knows who you are because we have the same experience. And what we know deeply in our souls is that our light is actually the ones that are bringing more and more knowledge and wisdom to those who can't yet see and feel and hear. It is us that is doing the work for the collective. It is us that is the 1%, that is the total and opposite expression of the dark 1% that we know has led us into a place of darkness and a place of control and a place of limitation and slapped it underneath a label called freedom. And we are waking up to the fact that we no longer have that freedom. That is not our choice. Through the magic of energy, we choose to let that go. We let go of that control that the 1%, that this dark underground consciousness has, this hold that has been over our planet and in a grid. This grid is being dismantled by you, sweet soul, and me. And our souls are coming together because we see it, we feel it, we touch it, we know it, we can sense it. And you are not alone in that. We all see it. And even though those around you do not see it, we are being called for to do it anyway, to work in our own direction, to integrate with our soul in a multidimensional way, to awaken more and more and more of us into our full power. Because when we are in our full power and brightness, when we all come together, we expand and multiply, and we create a brand new grid for this earth that then the collective is also plugged into. And when we have enough momentum to bring the belief and the knowing and the work into this new grid, we start seeing it light up, light up, light up, light up souls all over the world, all over the planet. And these people wake up and they finally see just a small portion of what they couldn't see a minute ago. And that small portion is light, it's knowledge, it's wisdom. And that then lights up even more within them. All we need to do is spark them. And if you are not able to do that with your voice, sweet soul, come back to the sacred, come back to the soul and plug into this grid that each of us, no matter where we are physically in this planet, we are each plugged into it. And we are each pumping new wisdom and new light and new energy into this grid. It is yours to do. You do not have to argue for or defend your position, your perception. You do not have to argue for your light. You just need to be it. Be it in silence is better than not being it at all. Letting it go out. Because I know there are challenges and I know that there are hurdles. We are all running the hurdles at the moment. But our momentum is picking up because we got it. We understand what these momentum or these hurdles are. We understand as we gain more and more and more momentum towards our true and higher self, stepping into that. Every hurdle is, oh, here it is. I shed all that holds me back in this hurdle. I jump right over it. I see it as I jump over it. I clear it from my energy because I know it is just energy. It is just an emotion. It is just a feeling. And as quickly as I can feel it now, as a light worker, as an energy worker, as a healer, I know now that as I jump over that hurdle, I simply feel it. I know it. I bless it. I release it. And I step down into more momentum and I gain more momentum. And then this next hurdle comes and I know exactly what it's here for. And as every racer who races over hurdles knows eventually that last hurdle is jumped, it's traveled over. And there is just the last push to the finish line. Sweet soul, the finish line is not the end of your life. It is the beginning of a life, a collective life for this planet that then explodes open. It's the grand, it's the grand lighting of the new grid. And with that grand lighting becomes an anchor into a frequency that we as a collective have not been able to see until now. And when that grand opening, that grand lighting of that new grid takes over and the old grid drops away, we will celebrate. To us, it's a finish line, and yet it's the beginning of a brand new race, a brand new life, a brand new source of abundance and experience of life that we have never known, because we've always felt like we were wrong for knowing it can be possible. And that, sweet soul, is when we step into the enlightened 1% and we start to do what the opposite expression of the old dark 1% did. We start handing out our light. We give it freely. We put our metaphoric hands out into the collective and we say, come with me. We give our hands and our souls to those who wanted to argue for our wrongness. And in our humble compassion, we put our hands out and we say, come with me. You still have a choice. That is what we are doing here, sweet soul. We are raising our energetic vibration by receiving this light energy in a conscious and sacred way so that we can all rise up higher and higher to the grand opening of the new earth, of a new way, of a sacred way of life again. That is what you are here to do. That is why you feel different, because not everybody's prepared for that yet. We are. I thank you, sweet soul, for being here. You are being watched. You are being observed way beyond this physical world. You are being seen and heard. Your soul is blessing the conscious souls of many beings all over our universe. You are being broadcasted. And what a beautiful, beautiful show it is for those beings. Because what they are watching is a higher vibration that we have known to be watching on our televisions, on our broadcast systems. They've got a clear channel of who you are and who we are as a collective. And they are watching us do the work. And they are supporting us. Thank you. Taking a deep breath in your heart and breathing that all in. Just letting that exhale go. As you embody that intention, as you embody that remembrance. Okay. I'm sweating after that. That was quite powerful. Let's take a big swig of water if you haven't already. Okay. We're going to dig a little bit deeper into that, because that was extremely powerful. Whether you know it or not, you have, if I look up, there's a beautiful window here and there are birds, and we're in the migrations. I didn't know this in Mexico, but this is the season when the butterflies are migrating and they're all over the place. They're like just flying by. So in order for me to check out of, what's going on the screen, if I look up, I'm hearing the message coming forth, and it allows my ego consciousness that loves nature, is in tune to nature. My ego, if it sees something flying out there, it goes right there to the butterflies. And I'm just explaining that because I'm very much in tune to the message. And yet it's a good distraction for my ego to just be like, oh, butterflies. And that's a tool. These butterflies are a tool for me to be able to stay open to this message. That grounding process that we just went through was so true to what is happening. And depending on where you are in your conscious evolution, it might be more than you can take at the moment, or it might be something that you already know and you just had confirmed. Nothing in these messages is yours to have to take. You get to choose out of these messages what is for you to embody and embrace in that moment. And in a week or 2 weeks, I invite you to come back to the same recording and listen to it again, because there's going to be a different something in your consciousness at that point that you hear and take. That is the magic of channeled messages. They are layered and layered and layered with codes. These codes get unlocked by your consciousness, by your light, at the perfect and divine time. I want to talk about this a little bit more, codes and templates, because that is what's being activated, and the grids as well. We talked about the grids in the intention setting of this earlier. There's a large energetic grid that surrounds our entire planet. Every living being is connected into it in their own unique way. Our cosmos greatly affects our planet. We know that. So when people talk about energies, to the dead, it's hilarious when they still roll their eyes. That there's a collective that still rolls their eyes. And in those moments when she says something, out in the world about energy, and people are like, oh, the whole energy thing, it is her practice to let go of judgment. Because at this point, there is enough science, even in our very limited evidence of science. Our modern science is still extremely elementary. It hasn't even scratched the surface. But it has scratched the surface enough of energy that we have plenty of proof that all of this stuff is not this airy-fairy hippie shit. We know this exists. We know that energy can be manipulated because we see it in our world. We see it in our families. We see emotional and mental manipulation to control a child, an adult. And this is the use of energy as an abuse. There are those of us in this world now, you, sweet soul, who understand that we can also manipulate energy and we can create magic with it with an intention of love and support for all in what we create, so that it actually enhances the freedoms and the sovereignty of every single human being in and on this planet and living being, right? We are over here doing this when majority of the world is still over there, playing with energy, controlling with energy. And yet when you say to them, that energy feels really, really yucky, you're controlling based on manipulation, they say, oh, one of those. It doesn't work like that anymore, sweet souls. You stand up for that. I'm not saying you go and you debate. There's no debate anymore because you don't need to prove anybody anything about yourself. You know what you do? You go sit and you play with the energy so that the result that is in the highest and best for you and for all involved is the energy you're working with. Because what's happening is we have been plugged into this energetic grid around our planet in a collective consciousness of manipulation. Whether we are doing the manipulation or we were choosing the manipulation. Many of us maneuvered through this, our lives, many lives, plugged into this grid that was built and created with deceptive and manipulative intentions to control every being that was plugged into it. And until our soul's light started to become more and more and more light, when it was a little bit hidden by the deception, we chose to play that game. We chose to be plugged into that grid. And every single time as we chose to stay in that energetic grid, every time we were supported by the cosmos, by our great galactic sun in the center of our galaxy, we were then aided by our sun here in our Milky Way. That sunlight was still working to free us from that dark energetic grid. And that is why throughout our lives, we just kept getting the nudges to go searching for more knowledge, for more wisdom, for more sacredness. And we all fumbled, banging into walls back and forth, trying to find what was calling us forth. In this moment, you now know your purpose, sweet soul, in fumbling for the light while connected to a dark grid was to bring your light brighter and brighter, your soul to expand. And all we're talking about in as far as light is the activation of more and more of your DNA. And as your DNA starts to wake up all of those dormant pieces, because we are consciously now choosing to work with the energies of our cosmos, bringing these energies in, they're lighting up our DNA. Our DNA, we have 12 strands of DNA. Those 12 strands plug in to our energetic chakras. Each one has a resonant and corresponding chakra. And as those DNA strands are lit up, more knowledge, light, the light goes on. We're like, oh my God, I get it. Oh my God, I see it. And there's many of us who are now tuned in, and we are seeing this dark grid. We are seeing this manipulated grid. We are feeling it. we are seeing it in the physical world, because whatever we are connected into energetically creates the physical form in expression. And as we started to light up, which meant more wisdom, more knowledge is lit up. And all of a sudden we're like, holy crap, I see how I have been manipulated my entire life, how I have been controlled, not only in my own family, but in our government. Like, the lights are going on. And then there's that panic of, what am I going to do about this? What am I going to do about this? And whatever is called forth for us to be in that moment, to turn on and support the light coming on, is ours to do. Because now what we are here to do is to recreate, just like we did in the intention. We are creating a brand new grid. And y'all, it's like, if you imagine, I lived in Austin, and Dad lives in Austin, and I mean, she lives all over the planet at this point, and all over the universe. But that's like one of those, like, eye roll, oh my God, what is she even talking about? But you get it. You're my people. You can laugh with me. You get it. Living in Austin, it was a massively expanding city. So all these buildings that would go up, right? And the shell, they put the shell of the building up first, and that, put the lights in, the temporary lights, obviously, right? And so they could build and overnight. At one point, before the building was completed, it was pretty much a building, right? It's got all the windows. It's just like just having the final touches put in, but at night it's all lit up. It's pretty much good to go. And it's about to go boom. They're about to do the grand opening, where they invite people to see it and to walk through the building. And they have a party to announce the opening of this building, and residents come in, or whatever kind of building it is, right? There's a celebration. If you can imagine that you and me and all of our beautiful workers like us, all the consciousnesses, all the beautiful vibrational beings like us who resonate with us, we have been building that energetic grid over the course of our lives. And when we became conscious of our sacred paths, we became a pillar. We became a set point, a connecting point in that. So if you think of like I have a soccer ball around here, like how a soccer ball is all, like the hexagon things. We're a hexagon on there, and we connect to all the other hexagons, which is you and you and you and you and you. And we were all operating separately. Then we started to light up and say, wait a minute, when we connect, where two or more are gathered, something happens. So we started to connect in our small communities. I have my beautiful community I meet with twice a week. My beautiful healing community. So we're all checking in. We're all making sure we're holding each other's light. This is a free community. You can come into it. You just drop me a comment, and I will invite you into our community if you don't have one, because we are all working over the hurdles, through the hurdles with each other. When someone's in a hurdle and we're like, man, I know this is for my highest, that's good, but I'm having a hard time seeing it, it's really painful. The rest of us come in that moment and hold space for her to see it herself. We don't say, go look at it. We just say, what is it showing you? Where is it showing up? If you want to be a part of that, come with us. Or if you have your own group, we are all getting to where we understand that we're connecting into each other. And now we have this almost done. It's past being a shell of a grid. It is a full and complete grid. It is pretty much the finished byproduct of what we are about to celebrate. It simply is waiting for a couple of those centers, those hexagons. I don't even know if it's a hexagon. Someone's probably going to tell me what it is. We're just waiting for a couple more of you to go, to click in. Because when that final click comes, totally metaphoric, okay? But a metaphoric way of explaining what is actually happening energetically. Final clicks come, the whole thing goes, and we light up that new grid. And as soon as that new grid starts to, or not starts, once it goes live, so just when it goes live, the old grid falls away. Every single part of it is lit, is exposed. Right now we can see the holes happening in it because there's enough of us that have connected into this new high frequency light grid. As we have all come together, holes in this old grid have started to fall away. It's barely functioning. And even though you can still see remnants of it in the world, it's going to fall away. We are in for some exciting few weeks from now, because what we are going to see is that old, the evidence of that old grid falling away. What's going to happen is we are going to see storylines where things in the physical are exposed, people are exposed, organizations are exposed. And at the same time, we are going to be supported, because when things get exposed down here, those who are not yet plugged into the new grid, they're still plugged into that dark grid and they don't know it. When they start seeing these realizations, they're going to go to the dark fear. They're going to go to the freak out, and they're going to be uncomfortable. And yet, that is when, as we hold that new grid, that's when we step into that 1% role in the opposite expression, and we say, it is okay. You are fine. Let me tell you what's happening. Let me not tell. We don't tell it. Let me share. If you're willing, let me share. And we help them through the fear. We help them see. We will be aided by benevolent forces outside of our planet, who are only there, who can only help when we, in that new grid, say we accept your help, because it is free will. They cannot help us unless we ask. But if we ask right here, right now, to be fully supported in putting the final pieces to this high frequency energetic grid, when we can put the final touches on it, we ask for help in that, for us to finally make those final connections. We ask for help in that, so that we can go live. We can go live all over this planet. And we can be here in support. We are being called to action here in a few weeks, few months, I think. I believe. I get the feeling of. I believe it's weeks before this energetic grid goes live. So that means the final phases of the deconstruction of the old grid is going to be happening, and that may be a little uncomfortable for many in a collective that still doesn't see the light. They don't see the knowledge, they don't see the wisdom, they don't see the deception, completely blind to it. And we have compassion, because at one point we were freaking blind as all get up, right? We were blind. But because we have come into the light, into the knowledge, we have done our research, we have done our sacred work, we have looked at a lot, and we are still in these last few weeks, sweet soul. You may have some hurdles, but you know what it's about at this point. You're gonna have it's not the final. We're never done with hurdles, but it's gonna be the last test of your disconnection from that old grid. So as you energetically fully disconnect, you're going to see the last few hurdles that drop into your reality, know what it is. Jump over those hurdles. If you need a community to help you, I got one. Just reach out. It's free, because we are, our community, our healing community that I'm part of, that Badette's part of, is part of all, we're already plugged into that higher grid. So we can see what this is about. And we are here to support those who need support. So we're not asking for money like the old grid demands. We're asking for you to choose it, to say, I need some help. I just want support. I just want to know I'm not alone. I want to hear what others are going through. I want to hear other stories. How is it showing up for you? Because this is how it's showing up for me. You want to be a part of that conversation. It's more advanced than what you're going to find on Facebook. So we commune somewhere else, online. So wherever you are in the globe, if you see this, you want to come in and talk about, or just share, or just listen to our conversations 2-3 times a week, you are invited. We don't expect anything from you, but for you to bring your light, your soul, your truth, your vulnerability. That's how you pay to get into our group. You got to be you. And if you are still working on that, we're going to help you find you. It's called the Maloka Weavers Network. I'll put the link below. Come join us. And if you want help integrating these energies, because here's the thing, we are being helped in these next few weeks while the old grid dismantles itself. It's going to be quite exciting. It's going to be quite exciting. We are going to be aided by our sun. We already see that she is pumping off all kinds of energy in the form of coronal mass injections, and sunspots that are building. We have a front-facing or an earth-facing sunspot in this very moment that was released yesterday. So we'll probably get the effects of that tomorrow or the next day. It takes about 3 days. So we're going to be getting these blasts of light. And y'all, they are 100% intentionally released. That's how our sun is how we get these energies, and we have benevolent beings that are helping the sun to deliver what we need to hold this grid in these last few, I don't want to give it linear time, in this last push for us to hold it. And I know we're all tired. We're like holding our arms up, being like, oh my God, my arms are shaking. I can't hold it anymore. But what happens is, there's still instability because not everybody's plugged in yet. Not everybody, like, people are aware, but they haven't found, like, where do I fit? Like, where do I go? So it's kind of that conscious, like, we know we go somewhere, and I know I'm needed here, and where's my spot? Where's my spot? So while they find their spot, we're like, oh my God, my arms are shaking, and this is getting really hard, and it's painful, and it's lonely, and it can be sad, but we know what this is about, and we're gonna jump over this hurdle of sadness. We're gonna look at it and be like, this is the collective, this is not mine, this is just this 3D, this old grid falling apart. I get that, but Lord have mercy, people, get your shit together and plug in. Get plugged in. And it's not a judgment of get your shit together. It's just understand how fucking powerful you are. Excuse the language, but I want you to hear this. And if you can't hear it with that language, I get it. But that's how I know to communicate passion. It doesn't come with anger. The words come with such passion for you to wake up and see your power, because we're waiting for you to plug in. And what that means to you is you are part of this new earth. We are waiting for you. Your mission soul, you're advanced. You've had these conversations. So it is time for you to plug in so that all of us could be like, once it, just imagine like when you plug in, like the whole thing becomes firm, so we're like holding it up. someone pops right here, and also is like, and now we celebrate. We are so close to that. We are weeks away. You're going to be seeing it more on the Schumann. Follow me on Instagram because I've been sharing on there how the Schumann is just blasting us with beautiful light. Not the Schumann, actually the sun. Schumann is measuring it. And these benevolent, beautiful beings, multi-dimensional beings outside of our physical human earth are helping us. And they are going to be coming more and more into our world. They're already here, but we are going to be seeing it. Those of us who are plugged in, we are going to see and hear and feel a lot more than everyone else. And that includes seeing these benevolent forces that are already helping us, but they're going to make themselves more present in our physical world. Okay? For them to come down to the physical world, it's extremely difficult because coming down to a 3D vibration is hard. So I don't know how it's going to go, but I get the message that they're going to show us that they're here and that they're good. And that's when we, sweet souls, have to communicate to the collective who hasn't quite seen it yet, who hasn't seen the manipulation, that these benevolent forces are here to help us. That is going to be a big message for us, because anyone that's trying to save the old grid, who still wants a piece of it, they're going to tell us that we're being invaded, or like something, like some kind of sci-fi movie thing is going on and we should all be afraid. It's up to us to know that these benevolent beings are going to be making more of an appearance. And actually, if you go see, there's a video I watched last night of a swarm of, call them UFOs, UAPs, all that was caught by the cameras on the International Space Station. You can go see it. Swarms of them, like fireflies flying. That hasn't happened. That hasn't been caught. It was pretty dynamic to see, because it was the physical sight that I saw of these cameras catching our benevolent friends in space all around us. And what they're here to do is help us lock in this energetic grid. Once we are locked in, then everybody can be pulled into it and locked into it, and the lights will go on, and it'll be up to us to support them in locking in, because they are going to have to do the same work that we have done, that you have done. And you know how to do it. You know how to guide people. Even if you're saying, well, I'm not a coach, or I'm not a guide, I'm not a teacher, you're going to be you and say, here's how you shed that. Here's how you work through that. Here's how you click in to the grid that I'm clicked into. This is when we are called. Lock it in, sweet soul. Lock it into this higher vibrational grid. It is being created. We are being helped. UFOs, ETs, whatever the heck, whatever you call them, aliens, they exist. And just as humans, there are ones that exist in a darker space, and there's ones that exist in a beautiful divine space. And the ones that you are connecting to, because of the vibration that you are in, being connected into this new grid, the 5D grid, you are connected into the beings of light. So when you start to see them or hear them more clearly, you know they're benevolent beings. You still want to protect yourself. You're still not going to go walk, through Skid Row at night, right? You're gonna take some precautions, right? But you're going to be smart. You're going to protect yourself because there are going to be a lot of darker beings that are freaking the hell out. They're losing their identity. They're losing their control. So you protect yourself knowing that you are protected, guided, and directed by a benevolent force outside of this world that is here to help all of us in this 1% of light that understand what's going on, that understand on a higher level of consciousness what is happening. We are being supported. This has been I had no idea this is where we were going to go with this, and I'm glad we did. It wasn't nearly as scary as I thought it was going to be. It came out in a way. I love how these channeled messages are coming out more in less fluff and more logic mixed with a lot of energy, light energy. So our logical brains can understand what's happening. We're like, okay, I could see that happening. I could see that. It expands us. Each one of these expands our perception of belief and possibility. Every time we come together on a Sunrise Sunday, we expand together. Thank you for being part of that expansion. Thank you for holding. And like when I say holding the light, I know there's like, I have some, things with that. Thank you for holding the knowledge and the magic that what is happening is actually really, really amazing. We are about to enter into a Renaissance period, and you, sweet soul, are leading the way. You are a pioneer. You are holding the door open for that Renaissance period. That's pretty amazing. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being part of all of this. Please like and share and subscribe and all the logical blah, blah, blah stuff that we have to still live by to get our messages out into this 3D world so that more and more people get this knowledge and get this wisdom and this understanding so that they too can just light up just a little more, enough to plug into our grid so that we can stop holding it. Share this message. If it's not the message of the recording, then you, sweet soul, are being called to go share it. Pass this on in some way. Thank you for being here. Thank you for making this so sacred. I'm just like full of love right now. So breathing in that love.